UIC has been raising its tuition, so now they're saying it's basically a public school, but it's basically a private public school with the tuition, right? Because it's weeding out a lot of low income students. And
Oh,
that's
University of Southern California is?
no UIC, University of Illinois Chicago.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, wow.
And
Oh,
so for especially in the 90s and the 2000s when I went, that was the black and brown college, right? And then the white kids would go to Loyola or DePaul or U of C, University of Chicago. So it was just assumed, right? If you if you can get into DePaul, which is the problem I faced, right? Because first year was $20,000 a year off campus, but then they're raising the tuition $2,000 every year, right?
yeah.
And so even if you can get into, and that's the terrible thing, right? America is shooting itself in the foot, right? Like, because there's so many bright black and brown kids who just are shuffled away from the opportunities that would make them greater and thus the country, because they can't afford it, because there's no support to go there, right? And think of all that wasted human potential that we're not cultivating in this country because of racism and because of classism.
Yes. Yeah. No, we're completely, I'd say we're shooting ourselves between the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really missing out on so much.
And I appreciate you saying that, you had the birth lottery of timing of your generation, because, people look at millennials, and now I'm starting to look at Gen Z and say like, well, you guys should do more. When I was your age, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but when you were my age, the country was different. The environment was different. There were different opportunities for a kid like you. And those opportunities are gone, right? College is more expensive. Cost of living has gone up. Jobs, wages are stagnant, right? So,
well, I had both. So I had a birth lottery in two different ways. One, the timing in terms of the 80s being really sort of the prime era, and also having, a father being a professor. I had no idea how lucky I was until later. But the timing too, because you talk about your tuition. So UCLA, 3 years of law school, first year as an out-of-state student. My annual tuition was about $5,600 a year.
And like, wait. In today's money, how much is that, do you think? Would you say? It can't be more than 20,000, right?
No, I think it's less than that.
Yeah.
I think it's less than that.
But imagine that. Imagine that.
Well, hold on.
Well, you lived it. I have to imagine it.
Yeah. And people can't believe it, because that was my first year when I was an out-of-state student. And one of the things that I was told was that you want to get residency. And at UCLA, it was very easy to get residency. All I had to do was I had to get a driver's license in California, register to vote. I did those within a week after I came out here. And then the only other thing, I had a summer job back in South Bend that first summer, 1987.
Right.
But I had my firm write them a letter telling them that I intended to stay in California. Now, I think they thought that I meant it. And I was basically, well, I don't really necessarily mean it, but I want to give myself the benefit of the doubt, because
you're going to be there anyway.
And it turns out that I have stayed, but I had no idea what I wanted to do then. But that was the only other thing that I had to do to confirm residency.
Right.
Once I did that, my second and third year tuition per year, $1,500 per year.
For law school. That's less than a car. Less than a car.
My summer in South Bend, my per week salary at that firm just for a summer job, I don't even remember the exact number, but it was somewhere between, it was like $750 to $800 something dollars a week. And then my second summer, I actually split it, which was a dumb idea, but again, something they allowed then because it was a student's market. And I split it between an LA firm called O'Melveny and Myers and a Chicago firm called Sidley and Austin, which, by the way, is where the Obamas met.